Allison, and I'm here with my good friend Sherri Berkheimer-Rooker, the Executive Director of the Chaffee Art Center, and we are excited today to talk all about the arts.
Yay!
Yay!
Again?
Again! I think we were just here doing this.
I know.
How many years have we been doing this in all different forms, right? We used to do shows
from the 90s, wouldn't you?
I think
because I did Art in the Park in the 90s.
Right, and we used to do shows about art in the park a couple of times a year. And other things
we started really young.
Oh, we were babies.
Yes.
We were babies.
Jim behind the camera's like making faces.
He's like, yeah,
nice,
right.
Jim.
Yeah, right. So.
Yeah,
but
excited.
I'm always still excited to talk about these things.
Because we always have new things and things that we've been doing for a long time, like Art in the Park.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Art in the Park is, this is the 63rd year.
Oh my goodness.
And we do it twice a year. Think how many that there's been. You know, it's a lot. And like I say this because it's just, and I did start when I was young, but this is my 43rd Art in the Park that I coordinated. And, there's, people go, oh, because you hear things happening with the Main Street Park. And August will be the same. October, keep our fingers crossed. I mean, you just don't know. And as I get older, I'm channeling my inner Zen. And I'm saying, whatever happens, happens. But we've reserved all of the Main Street parks. So it will all work out fine. It'll all work out fine. So anyway, Art in the Parks. So they're coming up August 10th and 11th and October 12th and 13th.
Wow. Coming up soon.
It is.
It always seems to, doesn't it?
And people are calling and saying, you still accepting applications? We do. We accept them, right up until the event. It's better to give it a couple weeks before if you're last minute going, oh, gee,
Right.
I'd like to do that. That would be, a good idea.
Do you think some people check the weather?
Yes, I do know that some people check the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like, let's see. I do that when I'm going camping.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
Hold off on those reservations until I see what the weather's going to do.
Yeah.
The weather can make or break your experience, I'm sure, as a vendor, because you're there the whole time. If you're coming as someone just to visit it, you can kind of see what's
and
the
honestly, with the many that I've done, I mean, Jim's done some too, but it is great when the weather's stellar, but it still is fine when it's not, because it's all under tents. And people are more the serious people who really want to look at what people have to offer and that kind of thing. So I always say it's never that R word at Art in the Park because we're all under tents.
There's never a bad time to come to Art in the Park, is what we were saying.
That's right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
perfect. And now you're getting into. So this is the last. We're right now as we're talking, and the last school is out now.
It's out.
And so camps must be starting probably next week, right? So camps will be going through most of the summer.
They do. Camps start the end of June and they go until the end of August. We've added one because people were asking for a camp around that time. So there's tons of different kinds. I'm just going to say a few, varieties that we have. We have a lot of music camps. We have songwriting and production, a couple of those. Sculpting, we have a couple of those. We have a fun with food, which is a 2-day. We have a fantasy preachers, an adventure with the arts, which will have some yoga and different things that they're going to be able to do with games and things like that. There's also a robot, that's the one we added at the end, a robot camp, musical theater. That's a really popular camp, the musical theater.
Yes, my daughter loves that one.
Yeah, and they do such a great job. And all of them, at the end of the camp, they do a little presentation, whether it's the musical theater or whether it's just a show and tell of what they created that week. So we have 13 camps.
Yeah, I love the way you have them structured. As a parent, I love this because if a parent had to have their child at a camp for most of the day, they could do a morning session and an afternoon session. But if they wanted or needed to have a little more flexibility, they could say just morning or just afternoon, and depending on what the child was interested in doing. So I love that. I love that you have that flexibility.
And the thing is, some, like you said, some people don't want the young people to be in camp all day, so they can, but like you said, some need us to do before and after care because they have to have, 8 to 5, and we can do that too.
Right. I just think that's wonderful. It's really a service to the community if you think about it, because
And it's fun.
I'm lucky to not be in this position anymore, but I have had this in my past, and I
juggling.
know, there are some parents who they have to kind of get their whole day covered.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to do it for most of the summer, except for maybe their vacation week or two.
And what's fun too is that we also have campers that return every year, but they're not from necessarily here because they're coming to visit their grandparents, or they come up for the summer and rent. Their parents rent a home.
Oh, right. You had kids last year who were from
Washington,
Lake
D.C.
Bombazine, right? They were staying on Bombazine. Yeah. And
Yep, exactly. And
cool.
it is fun, and it's fun for all the campers too because everybody's from all over. So.
Yeah, which is almost like going away to camp, only you get to go and sleep at home.
And we try to keep our camps reasonably priced, so they didn't go up from last year. So hopefully, we have something for everyone. And we have our summer hours now, which means we're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 10 to 5, and Saturday from 10 to 3. We have the camps going on all week long, so it kind of gives us a chance to have different things happening for them.
Wonderful.
We have lots and lots of classes.
How's attendance for summer classes with people kind of
Right now,
vacations and things like that?
Right now, not so good because I think school just let out, graduation just happened. Everybody's trying to get figured out for what's happening.
Yeah, I feel like there's something going on every single week.
Yes, exactly. And so
and I don't really
that's,
like that, but that's just the way it is right now.
That's right. And that's, that's what it is. But I just wanted to mention that we have classes for kids, and we have classes for adults, and then we have classes for teens, because I know that's a hard area, and I know that Rutland itself, and I'm sure other areas, have been trying to offer things for teens, the teen center, and others. So we're also trying to say, teens, you want to come, so that you're just with teens. We have offerings as well.
It's hard to know how to split those age groups.
It really
is. My
is.
daughter, she's doesn't want to be associated with the youngest of the kids, but she's not a teen yet either, and that's kind of intimidating to her. So I think all kids kind of have their own little spot, and it's hard to find it.
It's funny, we have this one young person who's 14, and she doesn't care. She'll take him with 6-year-olds, she'll take him with because she knows. I could take that class and learn something.
Right.
Really, but like you said, sometimes it's just oh, they're young or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I told my daughter, I said, just remember that the musical theater camp is all ages. And she said, no, that's really good for this.
Yeah, it makes it really fun. I think.
It is. And especially when you have these different roles. I mean, when you think about it, you go throughout your life. You're not always with your same age group all the time, right? We spend time with all different age groups.
It's true.
Young and old and in between.
Right. Yeah, we have an exhibit coming up. It's going to be talking about intergenerational. That'll be coming up after this one. But yes, so I was going to mention that. So on Saturdays we have different classes like acrylic, watercolor, pour painting for kids and teens, separate classes. And then we also have some things that we're offering, like drawing for teens, and some other, we're working on a photography and architecture one day a week one. So there's a lot of different things. And for adults, we have watercolor, we have our sip dips, which are fun.
Popular too.
Yes, and we have figure drawing every month, and we have a book group, and we have a ukulele every week, and we have bone builders twice a week. And I know I'm missing some, but that's okay. But you get the idea. The idea is we have a lot of classes. We try to put them in the Herald, we try to put them on social media, and they're on our website. So we hope people take advantage of it. It's really fun, and you might want to take a few different things to figure out what you really like. Or like me, I kind of like do it all. So,
You'd be surprised what you're capable
Yeah,
love too.
yeah, it's true.
I found that when Catherine took the painting pets, it was a 2-week
Yeah, they
course.
did a
Oh my
fantastic job.
goodness. I couldn't believe these kids. I mean, these cats and dogs, I felt like you could reach out and touch them.
Yes.
They had such texture and life to them. And
so what she's talking about is the Humane Society sent us pictures of some of the dogs and cats that were up for adoption because they were having an event here to thank their donors and volunteers and that kind of thing. So we had a class where they got to choose their animal, or whether it was a cat or a dog, and then they learned the grid system, how to draw, and then paint it. And her daughter's Catherine was in it.
Oh,
they did such a great job.
Cute.
They really did.
They really did.
I did post that on social media, so if anybody's curious, they're on social media.
Go back and look at the photos of it because I was blown. My husband was blown away, and he goes and films all different kinds of things.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Wow,
it was
this
amazing.
kid did such a good job."
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah,
Super
she
fun.
did a really good job, Catherine, with the mouth of the dog because the mouth is open, and that's really hard.
And also, as a black dog, black dogs are harder to get their features,
right,
and it's harder to do
because it'd be all blah black.
Yeah, the photography is very difficult when you have a pet that's all black, and I was kind of impressed with
really
how
good.
it turned out. Yeah, they all did such a wonderful job.
So I wanted to mention a couple other things as I'm thinking about them. We're going to have an artist talk on June 27th. More information will be coming with like the topic and everything, but artist Fran Bull is going to do the talk, and she is amazing. She's so inspirational. She's shown in Spain and Italy and all over the United States and New York City and all over here, and she does a lot in like this region as well. So it'll be at 5:30. So like I said, watch our website and social media for that. We are going to have our garden party again on July 13th. It was really fun last year. We had a lot of informational type speakers talking about pollinators and bees and native plants and that kind of thing. More information will come on that. But I wanted to mention that we have our pollinator garden is looking awesome. We started it in 2022, kind of midsummer-ish, and now it's been, a couple of good summers, and so now it's really coming. Yeah. It's, like I said, it's 100 feet of native plants thanks to the Rutland County Audubon Society, and here Luigi, and so we've set it up so people can sit out there. There's picnic tables and umbrellas, and there's a sculpture garden that Nick Centuro has a bunch of sculptures out there. So it's really a beautiful, calming space.
It's very inviting.
So we have a special guest here with us that just arrived from the Vermont Abenaki Association. This is Vera, and we were just talking about her name. So it's Vera Longtoe Sheehan.
That's right.
Yeah, and she's the executive director. So welcome.
Thank you for having me today. I'm pleased to be here.
Nice to have you here with us.
And we're very excited to have our Beyond the Curve Abenaki COVID Experience exhibit here.
Yeah, so it was really fun. We had our opening and a chamber mixer at the same time, and boy, there was so many comments and compliments on the work. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, there's obviously those pieces, like I can't believe the stethoscope with all the beading. I'm just amazed by that. Have you seen that one?
I came right in and we started, so I haven't
had
a chance
right
yet.
on the wall, and it's just beautiful. And then the gourd.
Yes.
So the story behind the gourd.
A hug, and that's the story of one of our artists' last phone call with her sister, finding out she was going to pass away, and
COVID.
That from COVID, during the pandemic, and that feeling she got at the moment her sister passed felt like a hug. And the gourd sort of tells the story of their life together, from small girls with her sister helping to raise her, right until the end.
I know, wait till you read it, because I read the little thing and I started tears in my eyes. And the underneath, the way that it's set is that you can see the underneath reflected, because there's a beautiful sunflower painted on the underneath of it.
Yeah, and that sunflower represents her sister looking at the bright side of everything throughout her entire life. So,
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and then, I mean, just looking around in this room, there's 2 galleries full of work.
yes, and so this all started with a storytelling project we were working on that was about finding out about vaccine hesitancy and what kind of disparities there were during the pandemic. And we were talking to some people were doing interviews, and some people were telling us their stories of their experience, and some people were creating artwork. And so this is sort of group sourced from a pretty large community of people. And then there are also some themes that came out of it about what people were doing during that time when everything was shut down.
Right, because behind us, right, there's a painting with, it's a kind of medical kind of, right?
Yeah, so looking at it, the background looks sort of like a wasteland in burnt umbers and blacks and browns, and in the sky there are vaccines or needles pointing down with green goop, and there are people who are naked, showing their vulnerability. Some are reaching up, welcoming, and some are kind of pushing back and
Right,
moving the other
right, so it's like
direction.
how everybody was feeling at that time.
Yeah, and people are represented of all different ages and different groups of people and stuff like that, because it affected everybody around the world.
And then in the middle gallery, there's the wampum belts.
Oh,
There's
yes.
3, they're, what, 5 feet?
About 5 feet long, and those were created by Julia Martin, who's from the Wampanoag tribe, and they're storytelling belts, and the series is called Architects of Genocide. And one tells the story of the Doctrine of Discovery, one tells the story of children in residential schools, and another one is about the Trail of Tears. So they're basically referencing historical traumas that many Native people were thinking about, not just in this region, but even more widely during that time.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm just looking too, I can see there's drums, so that was, so yeah, so tell, because I can read it too, it says traditional healing practices.
Yeah. So in the exhibit we have a hand drum, and we also have a rattle made with deer dew claws, and those are
So
different
cool.
musical instruments that might be used in ceremony and songs and stuff. And in between we have one of the community elders that was lost during the pandemic. And there's a photograph of him on top of a mountain, and it's mounted within a tribute type multimedia painting collage.
Yes. And there's some beautiful baskets, I mean,
Yeah,
just beautifully made.
yeah, and those are representing people that turned toward traditional crafts and skills during that time. So some people were doing a lot of basket making because they were homebound. Other people were out canoeing. I think we have a photograph here somewhere in the other room of people out in their canoes. They couldn't go out to their friends' houses, but there were 3 or 4 different families in canoes out on the same river.
I think we can all relate to that.
Yes.
We were all finding ways to get outside or to connect with other people or learning new skills. I mean, so many people were baking bread and doing things they hadn't
It's
done
true,
before.
you know, exactly, and you go back to like, whether it's needlework or beading or crocheting or knitting or the things that, you know, some of us grew up doing and then you stop doing, but when you have all this quiet time in this, and all this a time of like uncertainty,
Yes.
it's comforting to do things like that.
You can calm your mind too.
Yes, and it occupies, yes. Yes.
And as this exhibit has been traveling, what we've been finding is so many of the visitors that come in, as they look around, they see themselves in the exhibit and what that experience was like for them, and then they tell us their stories. And everybody has been very welcoming of that, because they said they've never really had the time to tell the stories and to process those feelings.
Right.
And so that's something that has been sort of a byproduct of this traveling exhibit.
Right, because a lot of people probably would want to forget that awful time, but how can you forget when it was such a large part of life, and you've got to kind of find the way to
That's exactly
work
what I
through
was
it.
thinking, is
Yeah.
that I'm happy to see something that documents this a little bit, because so many people just don't even want to think about that time anymore, but it's really important to process those feelings. I think we still have a lot of leftover
Right.
emotion about it that has no place
Agreed.
to go, and when you see everyone else moving on and you're not quite ready,
Mm-hmm.
this something like this can be a
And we see,
portal for that, right? It opens things up.
right, because you see the results, in, whether it's in schools with just how it was for the young, young people or you know, teachers or whatever during that time.
Yeah, I work in schools and I see a lot of mental health issues, a lot of students that have trouble doing things that they used to be able to do before, even concentrating or behaving or having some of the same
Attention
rules.
and-
And they have a hard time just like sitting and paying attention.
And one of the good things that came out of all of this and understanding that people needed to process and to share and that art was helping people was we developed a program called Healing Through the Arts. And we've been doing various traditional crafts and art programs in different communities where we have folks from different tribes coming together and they've been learning how to do traditional crafts such as creating bark baskets, doing quill work on bark, finger weaving, and beadwork.
We should do something here.
Oh, that would be
Let's
great.
talk about that. That would be really
That's a
fun.
good idea.
That would be
really
good.
fun.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking too that in the middle gallery, and I know that Jim behind the camera, Jim will get visuals of it. But there's the plague mask
Yes.
and the other mask,
Mm-hmm.
which I had read about the plague mask, but I didn't really understand all about it because it's the one with it has a long nose, and that they used to put stuff in there like so that thinking that, but of course the mouth is not covered.
Right.
So, but go ahead, you can tell about it because I didn't read the whole.
Oh, it's all right. So there are 2 different masks in there, and once again, those are also made by Julia Martin. One of them has the long nose, and this nose could be stuffed with things that were supposed to be to protect you. And the other one is made out of wampum beads, and in this case, they're red and white beads. They're not made out of the traditional quahog shell
You can
beads.
see it from there.
And if you look at the design on it, it almost looks like shark teeth.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so wampum sometimes can have spiritual qualities of protection, and so this is really interesting because she's taken this idea of a wampum belt and she's turned it into a mask with rows of beads that look like they have these sharp teeth.
And the mask, which I say plague mask, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It has like all this beading underneath it,
Yeah.
which is, it's just beautiful. Like it's actually a stunning piece because it's black with like purples and things.
Yeah.
It's really quite beautiful.
It is, and it's one of the pieces that's probably the most delicate in this entire exhibit.
Yeah.
So for folks who are very intrigued and listening now, how long can they see the exhibit?
July 19th.
July 19th.
Yep. So it'll be up for a while.
Good.
Yep. And we're open, as I said, we're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 10 to 5, and Saturday from 10 to 3. So there's lots of opportunity.
And there'll be lots of kids and parents coming through for the camps, so they'll have a chance to check it out as well. Wonderful.
And we're developing a digital exhibit that's going to be on our website, probably by the end of summer. And the website address is abenakiart.org.
Wonderful. Good.
Yeah, so you have to come in and look at everything and explore. We also have other artwork because this exhibit is called Art the Equalizer. It's about originality, individuality, diversity, and how every artist, I was reading this thing and it was about the only. So every artist creates their only, right? So it's what creativity they bring out in their artwork. So but that's kind of where it came about. And then when Eloise, who works with Vera, reached out about this, I said, oh my gosh, this would be perfect to be at that time because it's about originality, individuality, and diversity, right? But we also have our artist members. in the first gallery when you come in, beautiful, seascapes and things, and that's, you can tell, like, we've got Emmett Farron, Arlene O'Connor, Evie Towsley, and they all have a style of work. And then, Jenny Johannesson, I could go on, but, and then we also have in the foyer where the piano is, we also have photography. So like Robert Black and BJ and we have abstract, Mary Fran Lloyd. So Mary Fran actually has a solo gallery upstairs in what was the master bedroom. And her work is neuro art, and it's so colorful and it tells a story, because we like telling stories, right? So she brought all the art. She had it all with all the names on them for me. And so, Mary Fran has been through some things, some sorrowful things and heartbreak. But so I tried to tell the story of what she goes through, because she goes through, the sorrow and the sadness, and then she goes to letting go, and then she goes to using the art, and then so it's really, if you look at it that way, you'll get a little bit more meaning from it. And then we have different things you can interact with, talk about the exhibit, and do some art pieces if you want to come in and just kind of do something fun, and add it to our board. And then always we have our gallery shop filled with lots of gift ideas for people, affordable, handmade by our artist members. So we always want to encourage people, because when we had a lot of people here recently for some events, because we do rent the mansion for weddings and memorials and baby showers, bridal showers, you name it. They said, I didn't know you had a gallery shop. And it's been here for a while. So I want to make sure people understand that you can get handmade things like cards, $4. You can get little paintings that are $10. You can get jewelry, beautiful jewelry, made by Karen Udiger Silver. She's always at Art in the Park. Lots of little paintings, and Aaron for $30, some other people for $35, $40. So think about it when you want to buy a gift, because it's original, it's beautiful, it's handmade.
Yeah, it's not mass produced.
No. And it's one of a kind, really, because you can, maybe they can make prints, but if you try to repaint, you're going to make it different each time.
Absolutely. So, to wrap up, and clearly every time we're here, there's so much going on, right? It's hard to get your arms around all of it, but that's kind of the point. Don't ever think that Chaffee, I've been there, right? Because it's always changing. It's ever changing, not just inside the building, but also outside the building.
Right. And we're a community arts center.
Absolutely. So, sometimes you're focusing on the youth in the area and their art, and sometimes it's something very special and different, like the Abenaki exhibit right now, which I'm really excited to take a look at. And folks can do that until July 19th. You also have your gallery shop for those special little finds. An artist talk coming up with Fran Bowl.
That should be fun.
That should be really fun. Your garden party is coming up. Folks should know to go on the website or Chaffee's social media to get all these dates. And Art in the Park coming up in August and October. So just so much going on.
Yeah.
Camps, and so this place is going to be filled with children all day long.
Yes,
Let's
I
get
love
a little
that.
noisier in here.
It does get noisier. It's a lot of fun, though. They always come in and they hang out with Luigi's being very good. He's sleeping. But they always come in the morning, and he gets hand-fed, so he gets treated really well.
Yes.
And he loves it.
It's a special time.
Yeah.
So don't forget about the Chaffee. It's a lot going on, and we want to thank Vera Longtoe Sheehan for being with us today. It was really special to meet you and hear some of the stories behind the art in this exhibit.
Yeah.
And Sherri, of course, being here with us because it's all about the arts. So thank you for joining us.